To the second part of this Excel dashboard tutorial. In this very video, we're going to take care of how we can actually create this particular kind of animation to make our Excel dashboard stand out. You can see the animation is pretty fine, so we still have the same figure, but we have it more bold and in other color to actually make it very much visible to our end users. So right now we are going to go ahead and create this particular kind of slider where we have it very colorful and stand out on the background. And you can see if I even select even multiple selection right here, I don't have a place to cancel it just like what I have right here. That is going to be weird, but how are we going to do that? Right now, if I make a multiple selection right here, like the way I did it in the other part, I can actually come right here and select and actually cancel it. Oh, so right now we don't have that, we have that disabled, but with a single button we can actually have it cleared and our dashboard gets to update again. Can you see how beautiful that is? I have just to make a single selection, I can cancel it from here. So I'm going to show you how to create all this, and in the previous video you can actually watch and see how we got all this created and see the color palette we used, and the website you can actually get your color from as well. So if this is your first time on this channel, actually hit the subscribe button and actually like my video and share it if need be to your friends and family out there. Let's go on the right workbook. Okay, Omeza here, welcome to the right workbook. So this is the first place we've actually left this first creation, so go ahead and watch that video. I'm going to be leaving the link beneath this very description box right here. So first of all, what we're going to do right now is just to hit onwards, just get to go and save our workbook. To those of you who are not very familiar with VBA, we're not going to write a complicated one, but recording some part of it. So just go and save your work right now because it had already been saved. I'm just going to go to save as right here, and what save as does is that we can save it with another name again. I'm just going to show you the kind of extension or format when I use to save this. And already you type the name of the file right here and you go for either of these, but what we're going to go for right now is this particular Excel macro enable workbook. If I have it right here, the macro is not going to work. It's going to throw out some error until we have it saved on this type of what Excel macro enable. Please do endeavor to have it saved like this. So because I've saved before, I'm going to cancel and go back right here. Okay, pretty fine. If I hover over this, nothing's going to happen. Nothing is happening, and right here nothing is happening. I'm just going to go and create my first animation. So what I'm going to do right now is just for me to select here, here. You just have to do the same thing. If you have already the workbook downloaded to follow along step by step, just actually go ahead and do this. And what you're going to do right now, after you might have highlighted it, you're just going to go right here and actually have it grouped. And the same thing I've done to that, I'm just going to do the same thing to this one as well and highlight everything right here. And what you're going to do right now is just to group it together. I'm just going to do the same thing to this as well. We just have to highlight and group them together. Okay, fine, we've just grouped them together. And what next? I'm just going to actually use it for the first time to make a sample. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have it duplicated, and I just got it duplicated right here. For that, I'm just going to make sure I double click on this one and expand it a little bit. What I'm going to do right now is just for me to go to the top level right here and go to home, and from home I'm just going to actually crank up the figures we have right on it. Can you see that? You have the figure cranked up. That is nice. So I'm just going to put the figures on white color. Now we can't see it though, but we're going to have to work around to get it formatted pretty nice. And I'm going to go to my format, and right here what I'm going to do is to change the color of that particular card right here. I'm going to go to fill and have the color change to something like field color. I think I love something like this. So good. I'm just gonna actually make sure I bring it down a little bit so that I can actually have everything shown. Yeah, beautiful. We have to change this as well, so change this particular part of it because we want to make it show. And what we're gonna do, we don't want to use pure white, we're just gonna make the white a little bit darker. So we have something like this. So what we're going to do right now is for we to align this. To align this is pretty easy. Just have it placed like this and actually click on the top one to make sure you have a very nice alignment. I'm just going to go to format right here, and from format I'm just going to click on align, and after that I'm going to make it center, and I'm going to go right here and take it to the top, and after that I'm just going to make sure it's on middle, and you can see it's aligned together. So with animation it's going to work pretty fine. Okay, now we've done this. The next part of this particular tutorial is for me to click on this particular first one that we have at the top header. I'm just going to click at the top level right here, and what you're going to do right now is just for you to search. If you're using Excel 2016, you can see that already we have selection pane right here. If you don't have your selection pane, you can actually make sure you have it selected. Go right and search for it right here. Already I have it. I'm going to click on it. I have have the selection pane right here. And what I'm going to actually do is that with this group, if I turn the eyes off, you can see it's gone. This is what we're going to animate. So I'm just going to actually make sure I have it back on again. So I'm just going to click inside here and make sure I say, okay, the name is going to be transaction. So transaction. So I have the name transaction. This is the name we have to remember because this is what we're going to be animating. So that is one of the first steps we have to go through. Okay, the second step again, if you had been following my tutorial already, you will definitely know what we are trying to do or what we're about to get into right now. It's just for we to go back to the top level right here and click on developer. And when we get to developer, in case you don't have a developer, just right click on it and go to customize ribbon. On your customize ribbon, you're gonna see a pop-up right now. So here we go, we have this Excel options right here. You can see we have it, you're gonna have your developer default right here, but it's not gonna be checked. So if it is not checked, just check it and hit on OK. There you're gonna have it. When you go back to the top level right here, you're gonna have your developer. Okay, I'm just gonna actually make sure I auto hide it. Okay, fine, until I click it before I have it viewed. So now we have our developer right here. I'm just gonna click on my insert. And from insert, what we need to look for is just this particular label active X control right here. Can you see that? It's label active control. Make sure you actually click on that. And here I'm going to drag this particular label active control. I'm going to make sure I drag it down to this end because this is where people are going to hover over. Then we have this, and guess what, we don't want to leave it like this. We want to make it transparent. What I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to go back right there and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this property. Click on the property and you have your property right here. I believe you can see it is pretty fine. So you have your property right here, and what I'm going to do right now is just for me to actually double click right on this particular aspect, and I make it some kind of transparent, so you can see. If I bring it back, we have it. So you just have to make it transparent, put it on 0. That is back style right there. Okay, I'm still going to be having the label on it. This label one is for me to take the caption off, and already I'm done with this. Can you see that? Beautiful. Let me just make it, let me zoom this for you to actually see it very well, to see what we're doing right here. I'm sorry, I should have done this earlier before now. Okay, now we have just added that. This is exactly what it is. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to get a second one right on it again. I'm just going to get that. I'm going to explain to you what it is for. So I'm just going to actually make sure this one covers from here down to this particular aspect right here. So I'll tell you what it is. Okay, now we have this. Just double click on it. You have it on transparency, and you come to the caption right here. We have to take the caption off. That is label 2. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Take the caption off. I'm going to take the caption off, and the caption is gone when I actually click off. So now we have this in the center. We can't see that in the center right now, and that is what we're going to have at the top level. Okay, for now we are done with this. I'm going to cancel it. So I'm just going to go back and actually bring back my selection pane again. So here we have. So now this one we have at the top right now should go beneath this particular one, right? So, yeah, so when I take the label 1 to the top level, just click right here and drag it to the top. So right now you can see if I actually make a selection, you will have it selected. Select the second one, you have to come to the top level right here. And what does this do? We just want to hover over this, and every single time we hover over this, we want to make the card to reveal itself. And if we hover down, we want to actually make the card to disappear. Do you understand what I'm trying to say right now? I'm going to go back right here and show you a sample of what I'm trying to say. Now, if I hover over this, you can see we have the card already. And if I hover out of it, you can see we have it. You can see we have it, hover at the top, and we hover down. We just have it. We did the same thing right here to make it visible, and actually when we hover back out of it, so we have it disappeared. So that's exactly what we're trying to actually do right here. We've just got this done. So just, you don't have to remember anything right here, like the label 1 and 2. Just leave it this way. We have just created our first, we are onto the creation that we've not done with it. So this is exactly the first step to take before we start writing the little code that is going to actually do this over and over again. So are you ready to go right on the VBA? Alright, to start writing the VBA code in this one right now is just for we to actually start to write our VBA code right here. That is on the, when we hover over this one, it will appear. So we just have to come, make sure you have it active, and double click on it, and it's going to take you to this particular aspect. So right now is on click. we don't want to do this on click. Instead, we want to actually make sure this is on hover, so when the mouse is moved off it. So that is exactly what we wanted. I'm gonna actually get this one deleted, and I'm gonna paste something right here. So I'm not gonna write this one from the scratch. It's just what is gonna make the animation to happen. So the timing right here is what we really need, just what we needed. And if you've not been following up on my Excel dashboard tutorial right here on this YouTube channel, you just have to, so that you can actually learn how all this works and all of that. But right now you can actually copy what I've just gotten right here and see how you can actually manipulate to see what it is that you have right here. Remember, what we selected is actually this particular mouse move, and we have this, and we deleted the previous one, which is on click, that we have right there. So right now we need to start to write our first animation code and see how it works. Okay, I think I have this one on the wrong pad. I'm gonna take it off. Okay, right now we are writing this on the current sheet we are onto. And where is the current sheet? The current sheet is this particular sheet dashboard. And if I go back right now, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go back, and this is, we are on dashboard, dashboard 5, sheet 5 dashboard. We need to actually insert what we call a module, and this is the module right here. So for you to see, let me show you those particular one you're seeing right here. They're all modules I have inserted for the previous one. I'm just going to insert the same module, but I have to rename my my module so that it looks some kind of very nice. So I make it work. Okay, this is my first module, and to have it renamed, just come right here and click, and you have the module name right here. And the module is going to be transaction, because we are actually making animation for transaction. So that is correct. So we have changed the name of the module to transaction. We can clear this off. So for right now, and the code we have, this is exactly where we need to use the code. And for now, we have to start to write the first animation code and how it's going to work. Okay, let's go at it. So we need to declare a sub. I'm going to be declaring two subs. So sub transaction, transaction out. I'm going to say, okay, sub transaction out. And I'm going to declare that one again. I'm going to make sure I expand it. So right here, we have to reset this. We have to reset this. I'm going to tell you why we are resetting this. I was going to be sub again, sub reset. So reset transaction, reset trans. I'm just going to keep it very short. Reset transaction. Okay, let me just make it full. Reset okay, transaction. So reset transaction. That is exactly what we need to do. Okay, we have these two sub right here. Okay, what we need to do right now is, here is going to actually where we show the card, and here is when we actually hover over this, the card disappears. Let us work with this for the first time. So right now we're going to set the weight of this particular, so this is exactly what we're trying to do. Let me show you, so for you to understand. You can see this card right now, like how this card, we want to set the weight to 1. And after we set the weight to 1, we'll actually start to increase the weight over and over again until we get to the end. But when we do this for the first time, you're going to understand what I'm trying to say. So we're going to go back to the Visual Basic, and I'm going to say now the sheet we are on top is sheet dashboard. That is dashboard. The dashboard is sheet 5. I'm going to say sheet 5 dot shape. So what is the shape right there? The shape right there is actually this. This is the shape. We have this shape, and if I actually have access to click on the shape right now, you're going to see the shape is named transaction, because already we have this that covered it. I'm going to click right here, and the shape is being highlighted. So we have a shape right here. I can actually go ahead and copy this and actually use this on our Visual Basic. So right now I'm going to go back here and say, okay, we have a shape existing right there, and we're going to call this shape. To call this shape, we have a double quotation after we open the bracket, and I paste in the name of the shape right here. I close the double quotation and as well the bracket. Okay, right now we just say dot weight. So we want to set the weight to 1, and the weight is going to be equal to 1 right now. Okay, let's see if we run this, is anything going to happen? If I actually click on this and run it, can you see? So we have made the weight to be 1, and it works so well. We've made the weight to be 1, and what we need to do is just to make the weight to be 0, because we don't want to see this little color of that particular shape right there. So let's see how we can actually play around with that. So I'm just going to go back and come right here and just copy this. I'm going to copy. We don't need to write this over and over again. I'm going to paste this right here, and right now I'm going to make the weight to be what should be 0. And we have to run this and see how it goes as well. So we run this, and we make sure when we are to run this, okay, we want to make sure that if we are running this, our cursor should be placed inside here, and that is exactly what it is right now. So see me run it. I'm going to run, and it disappears. That is why we have that right there, and you're going to see how we assign that. If I actually come back right here again, I click on it, it brings it back again. So I want to see how we can actually auto increment this particular shape over and over until it gets to this last end right here. I'm going to actually expand it again and see how we can do that. Okay, let's say we don't know where to go from here. We don't remember what it is that we need to do to write the second part of it. But we want to move this particular shape and we want to create some kind of animations. How do we do that? So I can actually go and record a macro to get some little code I need for it. So I can actually go right here. Let me just make sure I have it zoomed closer so that you can see what is going on. And I'm going to actually click here and go to what? I'm going to go to shape. I'm going to insert a new shape right now. I'm just using this one for demonstration. I'm going to put a shape right here. So forget about the formatting of the shape. And now I'm going to click on my macro. I'm going to go for macro. So go for what? Go for developer. And I'm going to click on record macro. And I'm going to call this one, what am I going to call it? Okay, record macro, move shape. Move shape. So I'm going to call it move shape. And I'm going to go right here. And that's beautiful. Now it's recording right now. Because I want to actually make it to go this way. I've just recorded my macro. I can actually go ahead and stop the macro. Can you see that? I've stopped the macro. So now we can go ahead and see the macro we just created. We want to check it out. So it's called move shape. So let's see where we can find the move shape from. So we have the macro right here. That is the module one. So I'm going to click on it and you see we have it. Moved shape is the macro we just created right now. And you can see what we have is scaling weight. We are scaling the weight. The way we move it is what the scaling is all about. And we are scaling the weight and we are using this particular MSO files and MSO scaling from left top scaling from top left right here. Now you can see we've just recreated a macro and we've just known what to be used to actually make sure we have our animation completed. Let's see how we can actually implement this inside our work right here under the transaction. And right here we need to actually start by writing this sheet. We don't need to do this over and over again. I've told you we can actually copy this. That is one beautiful aspect of writing VBA code. You can replicate this over and over again and get it used. Okay, now that we've copied this here, we have to remember the macro we recorded, so we have to start from this particular scaling. This is what we want to start from, so we just need to go back again and cell dot. So it's going to be scale. So I do want to scale height or weight, so we want to scale weight right now. So scale weight. So once we have scale weights, we can actually put our comma and we see what we have is going to be false. So when I choose on the false MSO false right there, and before then I think we have to write scale weight from what? From which number we want to scale to. So the number is going to be from we're going to be 2.90. Let's just choose 2.95 for example for now. So I want to scale the weight from 2.95 points. That is exactly, if I go right here right now, I want it to move from this particular point where it is right now to 2.95, and when it moves, as soon as I duplicate it, keeps moving down until we get to this end. So let's see how that works right now. We are not done with it. I'm going to actually have my comment right here. I can also say MSO files, and we have this. So if you're following step by step, you're going to have to get everything we're doing right here, right? So I'm just going to actually go back again and write on what we have recorded previously. We need to actually copy this right here. So we have this particular one right here. That is the direction we want to go. We can make it go left, right, bottom, or middle. So right now I can actually go back and click here and actually have this pasted right now. And that is beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to see how this works. Okay, first of all, we have to reset it. I've clicked on that. So on the reset, we are on it. So I have it reset. So if I click right here, let's see what happens. Can you see it moves beyond what we have before? And now what we need to do right now is just to have the animation right on it. And how do we have the animation go right with this? I'm going to have this right here. I'm going to say timing. So open bracket from 0.3 seconds. Just after 0.3 seconds of this to run, or that this one runs, we're gonna have another animation again until we actually stop it from running. I'm just gonna actually duplicate this. So that is exactly what we need to do, and I'm gonna actually have to put one more of it. So now on this one is gonna be 1 point something. I'm gonna make it 1.8, which is the last one. So 1.8 I presume. So let's just make it like this and see what it is. So right now we cannot test it out and see if this is really working the way we actually presume. So let's see. Now go. This is working so fine. Can you see that? But I think it's beyond what we really defined for it. So it's covering way beyond that. So we can actually go ahead and change the number. Let's see if we have this on 3 points, what is going to happen? So if I have all this on 3 points now, what is going to happen? I want you to understand everything. Should you have fallen the victim of that, so you can actually know how to arrange it. Okay, I'm going to actually bring it down again and click on it and see how it goes. Can you see? It's far beyond what we have defined right here. So we're gonna go back and make it a full screen. I'm gonna click on Ctrl Z and have it back right here and see how we can actually have the right. So you can play around with this particular last one here or the whole number until you get the size of until you can actually size it to this particular card. They will have the same size right on it. So what we're gonna do right now is to change this 95 to some to under number. So to do it at once, I'm gonna have it highlighted. I'm gonna click on my Control H and I'm gonna actually say, okay, right now this 94, this 95, I want to change it to 2.94 for me. 2.94. I think that is gonna look better. And I can say replace all replaced, and that is beautiful. We are done with this. So aren't we done? So just go right here and okay, I can actually make it down. And if I click on it right now, you can see is exactly its size, and beautifully we have a very nice animation. So that is exactly what we want to do for the first time. So the next we're going to do right now, if we go right here and actually hover over this, nothing happens. It's not happening. So we need to actually make sure we have it to be working on this one. But right now something is going on. Every single time we click, this is what we see. Why are we seeing this? So I'm going to show you how to get that walk through. So just go to the top level right here and make sure you have it on design mode, because right now it's not on design mode. So you need to turn the design mode on. So we have it on design mode, so now we can click and have it like this. So what we need to do right now, I'm just going to double click this and we are back to where we were for the first time. So right now we need to call the macro we had just written. And what is the macro we've just written? This is the transaction macro, and remember what we want to call is this particular transaction right here. And how do we call that is the next question we need to ask, and we're going to watch to dashboard, and here we have it again. So all we just need to do to call that macro is just to say run, and when we say run, we have our open bracket and we have to paste the code right here and we close it again, and that is exactly what we need to do. And we've just said run. So now what did we do? Let me go back to the transaction. The transaction is that this is the macro we created. If it ought to be on a click, we have to make this one as a button so we can actually make sure the button is working with this. But right now it's not on button, so it's gonna be on hover, and we have to call it right here. And we are from module down to sheet. On sheet we have macro written on sheet and on workbook. So we write this on the worksheet we are going to be using this for, and we have this to be actually on what to run when we hover over this transaction. So let's go and test it out and see if this is working rightly. I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, I think this is actually something is wrong right now. We need to actually go take care of that. I'm gonna go right here and take it out from design mode, and now it's out of design mode. Let's see if this works. So it's working. But the problem is that if we keep moving our mouse, it keeps actually, going over and over again. Not just like what we have right on this particular finished one right here. Once we hover once, if we keep actually dangling our mouse over it until we hover over outside it before it disappears, but it's not going on and turning off and on. So we have to actually make sure we get around and see how we can actually fix this, so that when we keep moving our mouse, it's not going to get distorted. So how do we do that? Let's go and get it done for the first time. So I'm just going to go back again, make sure I bring it to design mode. So we have back on design mode again. I'm going to double click it, and right here we are back again. I'm going to give it a little space, and here as well I'm going to give it a little space, and we have to use the condition to get this done. So let's see how we can do that. So we have to use if condition right here. So I'm going to say if this sheet, this same sheet we are onto right now, because that is the sheet where we have the problem. So I'm just going to say we have an error because I hover over it is going to give us that error. Should we have done that? I'm going to click. I'm going to say sheet 5. The sheet 5 dot shape, just like what we've written before, and the shape inside that sheet is actually called transaction. So transaction. So remember to have it closed, and the weight set weight. If the weight is equal to 0, and we're going to say then you run this. So you run this code. This is exactly when you have to run this code. I'm gonna say and if. So right now, let's go and test it and see how it works. So we can actually go ahead and minimize this and go ahead and have this hover over it. Now you can see if we keep actually making this to go, it's not going anywhere. And if I go right here, nothing's happening. That is okay because it has worked. It's not dangling just like before. So right now, the next one we need to do right now, I'm just going to make sure I have it on edit mode. And now we have to work around with this and see how we can actually get this done. Because we want, if we hover over this and bring the mouse down, left, right to the top level, it should appear. Just double click on it. And here we have it. So fully. So what we're going to do right now, we have to change this from click to what to mouse move. And that is beautiful. We can actually get this away from here. And right here, we don't need to write any other code. Then go back to our transaction right here and actually make sure we have this particular one right here. This is the macro we need to actually copy. Exactly. And we call the macro. We are good to go. So go back again to the dashboard. And we just say call run. So we just say run. And you know what it is? Just have this right here, have it pasted, and we just close it. That is beautiful. We are done from here. So if I go ahead and actually have this shut down, and now we're gonna go put it off design mode, and now we hover over this, it should definitely start working. So you can see it's working well for us. You can see that it's beautiful. We've just created this animation and it's working so well. So I'm not going to go ahead and create it on all the parts. So you can actually go ahead and replicate the same thing we have just done right now to other part of your dashboard. And as well, this is actually as easy as ABC, just like what we've done right here. You can actually do to achieve the same thing. So change the text you want to have right here. And once you hover over it, you have it like this. Change the color, any color of your choice is going to work out for you. So right now, let us see how we can actually work with the slicer right here. Now we have to insert our slicers and see how we can actually clear our slicer from one single button. So let's go to the right workbook. Okay, we have to hit the right workbook and I'm going to put it on 100%. So we don't have any slicer inserted before now, so we have to insert slicers right now. I'm just going to go to this particular workbook. And right now we have to work with this. I'm just going to insert slicer right on this and see what it is. I'm just going to go, okay, the slicer I want to have inserted right now is slicer of region. I can actually click right there and actually go to add slicer. And I'm going to have my first slicer called region inserted. That is beautiful. I'm just going to make sure I have it minimized. And from that same region, I want to have on the slicer called style insert. I'm just going to click on it again. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say add slicer. We have our start slicer added as well. So beautiful. We are still actually making it. Okay, now we have to connect the slicer, take it to our dashboard for the first time. And once we have it on our dashboard, oh, sorry, we just have to make sure we select the cell to have it pasted. Okay, we go back. Okay, now we've gotten the three sliders right here. I'm going to show you how to connect this slicer with ease. So all you need to know is just to see what do you want to connect. So we want to connect the slicer, and how do we do that is very easy. We have different way to have sliders connected. Go to analyze and come to what filter connection right here. And I want that to respond to region, but for style, no, as an year. And that's exactly what we need to do. And we can go to the next one right here. We see what we have right there. And I have for sales reps. So for sales rep, I want to connect slider to sales reps. I think this is not a pivot table. Look at the pivot table right here and click on the pivot table and do the same thing to this as well. And I want the slider to respond to every part of it. So I have it. So now just know your choice of slider. I'm going to do this behind the scene just to make sure I show you how to create the formatting. Okay, right now I have connected the slider to every part of the dashboard. So if I actually filter now, it's going to actually respond to every part of it. So right now I need to actually hide some of it. So we don't have data for 2015 and 2016, so we're going to hide it away from here. I'm just going to right click and go to slider setting, and I'm going to go right here and say hide, and we are done with that. That is not all we want to actually hide. So we want to hide the header as well. We want to hide the header, and if I click OK right now, we have it disabled. But you're going to be thinking, how are we going to cancel when we select 2020 and want to select 2019 and want to actually see the whole analysis on 19 to 2020? How do we do that? So we need to create a little macro for that, and we have to record it. We don't have to write anything, and it's very, very easy. Okay, now we do the same thing to this as well. We just right click, go to slider setting, and have this hidden. and all of that get cleared up. I'm going to do the same thing to this as well. So we do the same thing, make sure we have it, and we go this way. So nicely done right now. I'm gonna come right here. I have something that I have to reset again. I don't want to hide it. I'm just gonna show it up. Okay, fine. So what we need to do right now is just for we to actually record that macro before I show you how to make it stand out on the background. So first of all, what we need to do is just to like, okay, now we have this actually selected. I'm just gonna go right here and actually go for the first time to record my macro. I'm gonna go for developer, and once I hit on developer, I'll go to record macro right here and name that macro to be clear filter, clear underscore filter, cloud filters. So cloud filters and this workbook, yeah, on this workbook, and actually hit OK. And now I'm just gonna click on OK. Oh, I think we should have done something. Now this macro is wrong. We didn't actually have to go that way. I'm gonna actually stop the recording, and I'm gonna actually have to make sure I have this activated for now. I'm just gonna make sure I have this activated for now, the header activated. And I'm so sorry for that, but we sometimes need to actually fail or make mistakes to actually get something learned. So now you understand what it is that you're trying to drive at. So what I need to do right now is just to start to record a fresh macro. We're gonna rename the macro something else. I am going to go to the same place, record macro. So before then, I'm gonna clear the filter away from here. I've cleared the filter. Now I'm gonna go to record macro right now. Under the record macro, I'm gonna record a new macro. I'm gonna say reset result underscore filter. So reset underscore filter, and that is all. So I'm just gonna actually apply the filter, and once that filter is on, I'm gonna cancel it, and that is all. We've just done it. So I'm just gonna say stop right here, and now we need to insert a button that's gonna actually help us to do that. So I'm gonna go right to the developer tab right here, and I'm gonna insert this button we have right here. We have this button. I'm going to insert it. So insert the button. So we have this button inserted. I'm going to have to rename this button. I'm going to rename it. So we have the rename property right here. Okay, for that, let me not concern myself much about the renaming of the button right now. I'm just going to assign macro to this button and see how that goes. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I selected the wrong button. So I'm just going to go back again and select the right button. I think this is the button we need to select right here. So once I actually have it dragged, it's going to show me the macro we have right here. So we have cloud filter, we have reset transaction, we have reset filter. This is the filter we want to actually have to work with. I'm going to say OK right now. So that is beautiful. So we can actually rename our button right here. I'm going to say rename this to what? To reset filter. So our filters, I'm gonna have this in bracket. Should we have multiple filters selected? I want to see the language right with it. So right now, if I select from here right now, I can actually come here and have it cancelled, and that is beautiful, like done. So it's done. I'm gonna select again, and I'm gonna have it cancelled right here. And this is exactly what I really wanted. It's gonna cancel it for me. So it has been cancelled. So right now, how do we connect this? Because it's not working with this. How do we connect this? So what we need to do right now, we need to see what is the filter name. All right. Go here and see. We have this filter name to be star, and we have this filter name to be years. Star and years. So now I'm going to actually right click here. I have this on, and I'm going to go for assign macro. No. Okay. Assign macro. And I'm going to go for edit. And here I have the macro that has to do with that. So I'm gonna have to reset this, reset macro. This is the macro we have actually created, right? Okay, we have this macro recorded. We might see that it's some kind of huge. How are we gonna deal with this? So all we just need to do is, this is where we have to work. So forget about what we have right here. Just copy this right here. And once you have that copied, duplicate this into two, because we have multiple filters we need to connect. And now this is what we need to change. Just understand that. I'm just going to minimize this and see what we have. We have a region, we have years, and we have stars. And we already have regions right here. All we just have to change right now is the year. So make sure you leave the slicer underscore right there. So I'm just going to go for years. and make sure it's correct. If it is ears, have the ears right there. If it is ear, just have the ear. Make sure you have the correct spelling. And I'm gonna go for stars. So I'm gonna go for stars. So right now it should be working. It's gonna work 100%. I'm very sure of it. Okay, let's see how that works. I'm just gonna select for start 3, and I'm gonna select the year 2019, and I'm gonna leave region alone for now. But once I have this clicked, I'm gonna have it cleared. I should have it cleared, and everything just got cleared. That is exactly what it is. So it's working very, very fine right now. So our our mouse hover effect is working, and this is working. I'm gonna select this month, this style, and I'm gonna select Asia, and I'm gonna select 2019 right now. I have multiple selection right here, and once I have this clicked, it's gonna clear it all at once for us. And beautifully, it's gonna run and clear, and you see the dashboard gets to update again. So right now, what we have to work with again is for we to actually see how we can actually make sure we have our slicer right on it, and actually the background should rhyme with the slicer. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna make sure I have my slicer on the same size. I want to see what size is this. Okay, the size is 1.67 and 0.93. So I'm gonna leave the same size. I'm gonna go right 1.67 0.63, gonna be 0.63. Okay, okay, I think it's way a little too much. I can actually make sure I resize it right here. I don't waste much of our time. I'm gonna make sure I have it this way, and I'm gonna make sure I do the same thing to this as well. I'm gonna bring it down here. I'll make sure it sits tightly right here. Okay, nicely done. And now I can go ahead and disable this from here, because already I have a button that is doing that for us. So I can actually disable the header away from here. And now I can actually manage this to go this way. And that is exactly what it is. So right now we have to format one, and after formatting one, we can apply the same formatting to this. And what color do we need? This particular color right here, and we have to go and see what the color is right here. The color is 04873. So remember that 04873 is what you have to remember. I can actually make sure I have this highlighted. And for the first time, for not to actually forget everything, let us copy the last one from here, 73, and we have to remember 048. So we copy this away from here, and I go right here, and I go click on this. I hit on my function options, and I right click on this. I duplicate. Once I have it duplicated, this is exactly what it is. So on the whole slicer, I want to have this particular background color right on it. So I'm going to go for format, and after clicking on the format, I'm going to bring it down right here. What font do I want to have on it? The font is going to be no font for now. I'm going to go for the border. I'm going to clear all the border. I don't want border. I'm going to go for the fill color. I'm going to go for more. So right now I'm going to go for custom, and I'm going to have 0. And I'm going to have my 48 right here, 048. And right here, I'm going to paste the last one because I have it copied for me to remember all of them. So I'm going to have to say OK. I'm going to say OK to this, and I'm going to say OK. So now it's not reflecting. So go back again and actually select slicer. I select it, and you can see it's working fine now. It is rhyming with the color we have on the background, but we have to deal with this as well. So we have to go back and make sure we have it selected as well. So have that same slider selected, and go back and reformat this particular aspect. So right now I'm gonna give the holes now go for modification, down duplicate again, go for modification, and now we select the header. We don't want anything to do with the header, so select item with data. So we want us to give it this same color. So let us see the previous one, what we have done right there. For item with the same data, I want to give it the same color because we don't want anything border on it. So then I'm gonna go for format. I'm gonna go for this, and I'm gonna have to go for the same customization again. This is gonna be 048. So remember the very number for the 8, else you're gonna have a different color. So I'm gonna have to paste this right here. I'm gonna say okay, right, that is exactly what it is. So I'm gonna for the border, I'm gonna take the border off it, and that is exactly what it is. So if I actually go ahead now and say okay, so right now select item with no data, so what color do I want to use for it? So we have to go okay this and actually go and see the color we have right here. Item with no data. Okay, I want to select item with let's see what we have right here. so that you understand where I'm trying to go. So right now, if you see this, I'm gonna actually have to zoom very closely. Okay, fine. Let's go to the sliders. I'm gonna select this way. So now if you see, I hover over it. This is the item with data. We are hovering over it, right? If I actually have it clicked right now, the color is gonna change. So if I hover over this, it's giving me red because this is the item with data, but it's not selected. But the one we have selected is gonna give us blue, and we can go ahead and apply the filter as well. So let's see how we can actually apply the same logic right here on this particular part of it. So item with data, a selected item is going to be on this. So we go back to this and we make sure we go here. The option, we go for modification, and this is modification. So item with data, select item with data. So what color do we want for the item with data? We want the font color for the item with data, we want white for it. We want white color for it. Item with data, we want white, and we want it to be bold. And for the field color item with data right now, we want a different color for it, but we have not really checked what the color is. I'm not too sure. I'm going to use any color right here though. We don't have to be very much consistent. I'm going to be using something very calm like this, but you can work around it and actually see the color. You can actually put the color code right there. So I'm going to say okay to this. Now select item with no data. What? Unselected item with data. Unselected item with data right now. So I'm just going to explain to you what that means, and I'm going to put it right on this. Okay, let's select this color for it. I think for the border, no border. So for the font, I'm going to make sure I put it right on this gray, on this something gray color. And I'm going to hit OK. We're going to go back to select item with data and see how we can cancel the border right from it. So we don't want border. Okay, there is no border on it. I think right now we should be done. If I actually go and say, okay, oh, we have this color. We don't want to have color. I think I made a little mistake. I'm so sorry. I'm going to make up for that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. It's just a silly mistake I made right here to have that modification. And I'm going to go. We should have done that on hover. Select item with data. I'm going to go back on it and I'm going to go right here and fill the same color we have previously. I'm going to go right here, 0. This is right here, 48. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to have this pasted here as well. I'm going to be making up for this. So fine, I have made up for that. And I select item with data. We're going to do the same thing again to avoid the same mistake. We have to go right here and I'm gonna go for 0. We do the same thing. We have to put our 48 right here, and right here we need to go for this particular one. We have copied, paste it right here, and we hit enter. So right now we have to deal with what we want to deal with. Okay, we need to go on hover. We're talking about hover right now. So let's see how we can go on hover. So when we want to hover, I selected item with data. What color do we want to have for it? When we hover over it, you want to have this particular yellow color for it. For example, we have to go for the border. We want to say no border, and we have that selected. Hover over item, hover on selected item with data. So what color we want to have for it, because right now it has no data. We want to actually hover over it, and we want to see this color to be for it because it has no data. I want to have this particular something like a red color because it has no data. Let's just see it calmly like this. And once we have that done, we can click on OK, and now we can see what it is that we have just done. Oh, can you see that? Beautiful. When I select, the one I have selected is with the white color, and you see on is the UK, the white color is being selected right now, and the one that is not being selected is actually on the gray color. So we can now go ahead and apply it to all our sliders. We are going to be good to go. So I'm going to select our 2 sliders we have right here and apply the same format into it. And now beautifully we have this. We can actually go ahead and align this right on it on this particular aspect right here. I'm gonna have this right here, and I'm gonna go right here and actually go for insert, and I have this particular okay, bring this right here and just select here. So I'm gonna type in my ears. So once my ears right there, I'm gonna bring it down. I format it pretty fine. I'm gonna go right and middle, centralize it. Okay, fine. I think I'm gonna put it on white, and I'm gonna change the color to this same color. And I think it has some kind of outline. I'm gonna go to the format. I'm gonna say for the outline color, I'm gonna say no outline. no outline for it. I think right now I'm gonna have to control and actually move this up because I want to have this one sitting right here. That is beautiful. So I have to just get this one to say region. So region, so I have my region right here. So I have my region right here. So I think I'm gonna make sure my region is sitting tightly right on it. So we have the region sitting right here, and we can make this one to be our store. So I'm gonna have my store here. I'm gonna say store, stars. So beautiful. And I'm gonna make sure my store comes down closely. I think you can see we are actually like what we have in the other dashboard. Exactly, we've just got in the same thing right here. Can you see how beautiful it is to create this kind of dashboard? So if you've not watched the first tutorial, you can go ahead right now and watch that particular tutorial because we have done a very great justification to this dashboard right now. So for you to actually keep watching my tutorial, you have to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to actually get notification every single time I drop a new video over and over again. Support me by sharing this particular video and leave a comment to let me know what you feel about this video.